Good morning.
Good morning.
I think we're like 1 minute early. Oh, it is Saturday morning. Time for AA. If you're new here, welcome. Um, if you choose to chat in the chat, just be aware that the chat does upload, and I don't know how to get it not to do that, so it is what it is. We don't tolerate bullying, judgment, harassment, being rude. So if that's what you're here for, please find something else to do because this meeting is about helping the alcoholics that still suffer and the ones that are still on their sobriety journey. So, with that, we're going to say the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I know what he's looking for. So, Lily's going to start off with the steps, and I'm going to read the traditions. And after the meeting, please stay here for a couple of minutes because I'd like to read the daily reflections for today, and then we'll close out the live. With that, go ahead, Louie.
Step 1. We admitted we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrong. Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of persons we had harmed and be willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
Thank you. 12 traditions. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as we understand Him, or as He may express Himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 2. The only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking.
3.
4. Oh, sorry. That was 3, guys. 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problem of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ personal workers. 9. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. AA does not take sides in any public controversy. Oh, I just kept reading it. 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles
Place
before.
or personalities.
Yeah.
Did you
And
hear me?
huh?
Did you hear me saying that?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
All right.
I was
Uh,
whispering.
so I do put the book that we are reading and the chapter and the page is in the descriptions every meeting, and so that way you know where we are at in the book and what book. And if you have a book, follow along. If you don't, that's okay. We read a couple of pages every meeting, so just follow along. And if you need a steps and tradition book, email me. In the description is my email on my about in on my channel page. Um, we will try our hardest to get you a steps and traditions book at no cost to you. So we are on chapter 8, page 108. These are some of the questions which race through the mind of every woman who has an alcoholic husband. We hope this book has answered some of them. Perhaps your husband has been living in that strange world of alcoholism where everything is distorted and exaggerated. You can see that he really does love you with his better self. Of course, there is such a thing as incompatibility, but in nearly every instance, the alcoholic only seems to be unloving and inconsiderate. It is usually because he is warped and sickened that he says and does these appalling things. Today, most of our men are better husbands and fathers than ever before. Try not to condemn your alcoholic husband no matter what he says or does. He is just another very sick, unreasonable person. Treat him when you can as though he had pneumonia. When he angers you, remember that he is very ill. There is an important exception to the foregoing. We realize some men are thoroughly bad intentioned, that no amount of patience will make any difference. An alcoholic of this temperament may be quick to use this chapter as a club over your head. Don't let him get away with it. If you are positive he is one of this type, you may feel you had better leave. Is it right to let him ruin your life and the lives of your children? Now, mind you, this pertains to women as well. So it's not just men, it's also women and wives, especially when he has before him a way to stop his drinking and abuse if he really wants to pay the price. The problem with which you struggle usually falls within one of four categories. One, your husband may be only a heavy drinker. His drinking may be constant, or it may be heavy only on certain occasions. Perhaps he spends too much money for liquor. It may be slowing him up mentally and physically, but he does not see it. Sometimes he is a source of embarrassment to you and his friends. He is positive he can handle his liquor, that it does him no harm, that drinking is necessary in his business. He would probably be insulted if you were called and will moderate or stop altogether, and full and some will not, of those who keep on. A good number will become true alcoholics after a while. Go ahead.
2. Your husband is showing lack of control, for he is unable to stay on the water wagon, even when he wants to. He often gets entirely out of hand when drinking. He admits this is true, but is positive that he will do better. He has begun to try, with or without your cooperation, various means of moderation, monitoring, or staying dry. Maybe he is beginning to lose his friend. His business may suffer somewhat. He is worried at times and is becoming aware that he cannot drink like other people. Sometimes he sometimes drinks in the morning and through the day also, to hold his nervousness in check. He is remorseful after serious drinking bouts and tells you he wants to stop. But when he gets over the spree, he begins to think once more how he can drink moderately next time. We think this person is in danger. These are the earmarks of a real alcoholic. Perhaps he can still tend to business fairly well. He has been no he has by no means ruined everything, as we say among ourselves. He want to stop. 3. This husband has gone much further than husband number 2. Though once like number 2, he became worse. His friends have slipped away. His home is a near wreck, and he cannot hold a position. Maybe the doctor has been called in, and the weary round of sanitariums and hospitals has begun. He admits he cannot drink like other people, but does not see why. He clings to the notion that he will yet find a way to do so. He may have come to the point where he desperately wants to stop, but cannot. His case presents
It's-
additional questions which we shall try to answer for you. You can be quite hopeful of a situation like this. 4. You may have a husband of whom you completely despair. He has begun play he has been placed in one institution after another. He is violent or appears definitely insane when drunk. Sometimes he drinks on the way home from the hospital. Perhaps he has had delirium tremens. Doctors may shake their heads and advise you to have him committed. Maybe you have already been obligated to put him away. This picture may not be as dark as it looks. Many of our husbands were just as far gone, yet they got well. Let's now go back to husband number 1. Oddly enough, he is often difficult to deal with. He enjoys drinking. It stirs his imagination. His friends feel closer over a highball. Perhaps you enjoy drinking with him yourself when he doesn't go too far. You have passed happy evenings together, chatting and drinking before your fire. Perhaps you both like parties, which would be dull without liquor. We have enjoyed such evenings ourselves. We had a good time. We know all about liquor as a social lubricant. Some, but not all of us, think it has its advantages when reasonably used. The
okay.
first principle of success is that you should never be angry, even though your husband becomes unbearable and you have to leave him temporarily. You should, if you can, go without rancor. Patience and good temper are most necessary.
Our next thought is that you should never tell him what he must do about his drinking. If he gets the idea that you are a nag or killjoy, your chance of accomplishing anything useful may be zero. He will use that as an excuse to drink more. He will tell you he is misunderstood. This may lead to a lonely evenings for you. He may seek someone else to console him, not always another man. Be determined that your husband's drinking is not going to spoil your relations with your children or your friends. They need your companionship and your help. It is possible to have a full and useful life through your husband. The husband continues to drink. We know women who are unafraid, even happy under these conditions. Do not set your heart on reforming your husband. You may be unable to do so no matter how hard we try. We know these suggestions are sometimes difficult to follow, but you will save many a heartbreak if you can succeed in observing them. Your husband may come to appreciate your reasonableness and patience. This may lay the groundwork for a friendly talk about the alcoholic problem. Try to have him bring up the subject himself. Be sure you are not critical during such a discussion. Attempt instead to put yourself in his place. Let him see that you want to be helpful rather than crucial. When a discussion does arise, you might suggest he read this book. or at least the chapter on alcoholism. Tell him you have been worried, though perhaps needlessly. You think he ought to know the subject better than or better, as everyone should have a clear understanding of risks he takes if he drinks too much. Show him you have confidence in his power to stop or moderate. Say you do not want to be a wet blanket, that you only want him to take care of himself. Thus, you may succeed in interesting him in alcoholism. And I think we're going to stop there. So, what got me was where it says, let's see, where was it? Um, anyways, my husband did leave the first time I quit drinking. That was why I quit drinking the first time. Because he did leave, and I was sober for a year, but I didn't have AA at that time. Now, the first year I went without drinking with no outside help at all. It was just me. I wanted to be sober because I wanted to, like, please him. And I had admitted I was an alcoholic at that point. But not having a backup plan for if I like fell off the water wagon, then what was I going to do? I set myself up to fail, is what I did. I uh, I bought some alcohol. It was just the favorite drink of mine. It was something I always drank, and I bought. I don't know how many of them I bought. Maybe four. I think it was a 4-pack. And so when I found out it was a mixed drink in one bottle, I was like, all right, I'm going to buy these and I'm going to put them in my fridge. Big mistake. Biggest mistake ever. Because what that did was it set me up to where it was there and I knew it was there and I could go drink it.
Alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful.
So, guess what, guys? I drank it. And I went right back to the bottom of the barrel and the bottle, whatever term you want to use. Then I went a while still drinking. Not very long, but a while. And so finally I was like, all right, we need a change. And we were looking at buying some property. And so we went down to a friend's property and see if we could find something. And my sister called me drunk. And I was sober. And so I told her, don't call me when you're drunk. You remind me of our father. She stopped calling me. Yeah, I was lost. I didn't know what to do because I used to talk to her every day. But I needed a break from knowing that she was drinking. And I got sober. And so my sobriety date is November 15th, 2014. Yes, 2014. I'm 8 years and 8 months sober. What is today? today, 8 years and 8 months today, sober. That is a big accomplishment. And I celebrate every day that I wake up and I'm sober. And that's all we can do, really, is wake up and be blessed and be thankful that we have today and that we woke up sober and we get to see it all through clear eyes and not have to go back to that. And a friend of mine is who brought me to AA. I had come to AA before when I was a teenager. Sorry about my husband back there in the background. But it is. I am so forever grateful to that friend of mine for saying, "Hey, meet me at an AA meeting." This friend's been my friend since I was 16 years old, 15 or 16. So that's a long time to be a friend. And so I took that offer and I went. And I tell you, I am so grateful that I did because I'm still here. I'm still sober. And I'm doing these meetings to share this free gift with everybody. And whether you're a newcomer or you're old timer or you're in the middle and you're still trying to figure out things, do your steps. It works. That's all I can say is it works. Somehow it works. And it is willpower and the wanting the better for yourself. Because we can't change anybody else. All we can change is ourselves and go farther and stay sober. And guess what? In 4 days, my sister will be 8 years sober. 4 days. And I'm so very proud of you. I'm so happy that you're on this journey with me. I'm so glad that you're doing these meetings with me. You're my best friend, and you help me stay sober as well. And I'm so blessed that I was able to help you to come and find the help that I found. And it's been wonderful 8 years of sobriety with you. And I'm so very, very, very proud.
I still
Just know
got four
that.
days.
Yeah, but you got the 4 days. But I am very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm proud of everyone else that is sober here. I don't know how long you've been sober or how long whoever you're helping has been sober, but it is a blessing and a gift to be able to be here and share it and pass it along to the next one. Help people out when they need it. Your turn.
I don't really have anything to say today. I just woke up
Yeah, you always just
from
woke
too
up.
short of a nap.
You've been trying to not take a nap and you just took a nap. Yes.
Well, I know this part in the book speaks to me because my husband still drinks. And I need to understand that I need to have patience and understanding, and I let sometimes I forget that I need to not nag and bring it up and all that other stuff. So, but here I am in the same sense telling other people not to. So I need to take my own advice and just let him be himself, and he'll come around when he wants to. You know, he knows where my book is. It's here all the time. He has watched our meetings on YouTube and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I need to remember that too because I do the same thing to him and I need to like let him find his own time because that's what we had to do.
yep,
Yeah. So and Lucretia, you're absolutely right. Take nothing for granted. It is uh it is a great blessing to stay sober. Um we need to remain focused on our own sobriety. Exactly. Because we can't focus on somebody else's problems because, we've got our own. And sometimes it's hard to like not get into somebody else's stuff. But we always need to try to remember that we can only do us. We can only work on ourselves and we can help others, but we can't tell them what to do. We can't control what they do. And we can only control ourselves. And in order for us to be better for others and for ourselves, is to be sober, work our steps every day, be present, And when somebody is asking you a question about their sobriety or they have a breakdown or something and they contact you, be there for them. That's what they need. They need somebody to be there and say, you know, uh, there is help if you need it anywhere and everywhere. So whether it's a friend, a family member, a meeting, or just a stranger, people listen. I learned by me, even at work, which I'm going back to work in a week, so I got to get ready for that. But even if you say something at work like I do, I don't care who it is. I'll tell them I'm a recovering alcoholic. Sometimes it sparks somebody that might be standing there that is doing the same thing, which I have had happen with more than one person. Um, it's it strikes up a conversation of how long have you been sober? What do you do for your you know how are you managing staying sober for so long? Or what steps are you taking to stay sober for this long? It is something that I am open about. I don't close it anymore. I used to be like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not telling you anything about me. Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm a recovering alcoholic, plain and simple, and I'm sober. Sobriety is important to me. It might not be important to somebody else, whether I'm sober or not, but it has to be very important to me so that way I don't fall off. Because that's the last thing I want to do is fall off the wagon. Because I've been there and I've done it, and I can tell you, it's a disaster, a big disaster. So just know that there are meetings everywhere. There, there's more than just my meeting here on YouTube. But this is something I'm passionate about, and that's why I started it. So, um, other than that, so Lily, what day of the week is your sobriety birthday?
Wednesday, I believe.
So we're going on Friday to a meeting. And which, by the way, my work will let me take the time off if I need a meeting. Let me find my daily reflection. Today is the 15th of July. It says pride. For thousands of years, we have been demanding more than our share of security, or yes, security, prestige, and romance. When we seemed to be succeeding, we drank to dreams, still greater dreams. When we were frustrated, even in part, we drank for oblivion. Never was there enough, or never was there enough of what we thought we wanted. In all these strivings, so many of them well intentioned, our crippling handicap had been our lack of humility. We had lacked the perspective to see that character building and spiritual values had to come first, and that material satisfactions were not the purpose of living. That is on 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 71, if anybody wants to read that. Time and again, I approached the seventh step, only to fall back and regroup. Something was missing, and the impact of the step escaped me. What had I overlooked? A single word? Read but ignored? The foundation of all the steps, indeed, the entire Alcoholics Anonymous program, that word humility, or sorry, humbly. I understood my shortcomings. I constantly put tasks off. I angered easily. I felt too much self pity, and I thought, why me? Then I remembered, pride goeth before the fall, and I eliminated pride before my life. Or from my life.
Okay. I have the men's uh, a book of daily meditation for men. Today says, there is nothing you can say in answer to a compliment. I have been complimented myself a great many times, and they always embarrass me. I always feel that they have not said enough. Hearing the good words and praise of another person is harder for some of us to accept than criticism and abuse. Perhaps it is easier to receive what we are accustomed to, or maybe we feel a loss of control when someone compliments us. This is a time for us to begin accepting others' actions. We do not need to be in control of our relationship at all times. When friends offer sincere compliments, we don't need to push them away or brush them off. All we need to do is allow others' positive messages to come into us. In a good relationship, we listen to the feelings of our friends, and sometimes that means truly listening as they tell us their good feelings about us. Today, I will be open to the compliments that come my way without controlling them. And that was a Touchstone, a book of daily meditation for men.
Yeah,
I
I
don't have the
agree.
women's version. I gave that to someone that I thought
Yeah,
needed.
we'll have to get one. I think I have one somewhere. I think my sponsor gave me one. Um, I'll have to find it. But I mean, this has been a great day. I'm still sober. I'm still happy. Whether I'm going through a bad day or I'm upset about something, I always have to remember that it's a good day. It starts off as a good day every day because I wake up and I'm sober. And I have to just remember as well that I cannot control what anyone else does. And, it's a lesson, it's learning every day and reminding yourself every day, hey, what I learned in that step, or what did I just read out of that book? We have to remember, we have to do us, and that's all we can do. And we have to be okay with that. And we have to let everybody else do as they will without us judging them. It is very hard, but we cannot judge them for their mistakes because we don't like being judged for ours. But I think it's been a great meeting, and I hope everybody has a blessed weekend and sober weekend if you are here for that part of a meeting. Um, I just want to thank all of my friends in this community because I know some don't chat. They just watch the replay and they don't comment because, you know, some of us don't want to. And I understand that because I was that way too until I found my voice. And with that, we'll say the Serenity Prayer and then go about our day. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming
Keep
back.
coming back
It works.
if you work it.
I love you guys. Be safe out there and stay cool. Here in Oregon, we're in a heat wave advisory. So stay cool, stay safe. I love you all. See you on the next one.